What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's mindset episode. And if I could give you three things that if you did each of these three, your entire life would change, that's what this episode is about. So make sure you tune in and listen through to what each of the three things are, especially to what number three is, because it's the biggest reason why most people don't succeed long term and create the level of transformation that they want. If you weren't aware, I have been in South Africa now for the last 4 weeks. It's been super cold. I'm not used to the cold. I hate winter. I literally live my life to avoid winter. So it's been an interesting challenge for me. And whenever I go through, adjustments or changes or routine has to adapt, I'm always thinking about core elements, core things that I have built over the years that allow me to still succeed, allow me to still be the best version of me. So I was going for a walk, found a beautiful bench to sit on and actually enjoy a bit of sunshine last weekend. And these three things popped into my mind. So I wanted to share each of them with you and make sure that you understand how to not only, adopt them yourself, but how to own them moving forward to create the level of success that you want. So let's dive into each of these. Now, number one, and you would think this would be a no-brainer, but it is the biggest precursor to me even being able to help somebody transform. And I won't even work with somebody until we've done this initial step first. And that step is getting clear on who you want to be, going through a form of an identity shift transformation in order to let go of the version of yourself that you no longer want to be and to embrace and put things in place to build the version of you that you want to be moving forward. And the reason why this is a precursor to everything is the fact that I can want something, I can wish for something, I can decide that I want, to go in a certain area. But if I'm not clear on who I need to be when I get there, or who I need to be in order to go through each of the challenges, hurdles, roadblocks, things that I'm going to face along that journey to end up to where I want to be, I'm never going to make it. It's never going to stick. It's going to be a place or things that I visit, but I'll always come back to the place where my identity recognizes. My identity is used to owning, staying stuck in, being a part of, right? Where it's in bad relationships or bad environments or circumstances that you feel are dictating and controlling you. You'll always default back to that because your beliefs haven't changed. How you see yourself hasn't changed. Your perspective and your internal dialogue and the way that you allow external factors to dictate you hasn't changed. And when I say change, I want to be super clear that it hasn't transformed. Change is something that is a part of the transformation process. But until you've actually transformed, you've created a new identity that you now own. And when I say own, like you operate from that new identity, your beliefs, your language, and your actions, all of the parts that you can see that are associated with that identity is where you operate from. You no longer are connected to that old identity, old self, old way of doing things. And you might slip for a while, but at the point that you own it, there is no more slippage. There's no more going back. That version of you has been killed off in the process so that you no longer even recognize that person. And that is what I mean by a transformation. Okay. It's being able to get to the point where you now look like something different. Change can look different, but it's just a different color of the same shape. It's a triangle folded around on a different side, but it's still a triangle. It's still associated as the same identity. All right. That's the first thing. When you can nail this, all right, then I can take on anything because I have clarity around who I want to be. I have clarity around who I no longer am. And all of my actions, if I'm going to hold a level of integrity, in alignment with that new identity, that new version of me. When that happens, success is inevitable. It's literally just a matter of when, not a matter of if, because success for you is so clear now. The steps are so laid out for you to be able to see because they're in alignment with who you want to be, which at your core is also attached to how you want to feel, the things that you want in your life, your relationships, your level of happiness, your physical body, your connection to spirit, being, God, whatever it might be. When that is all encompassing as part of your new identity and you have clarity around that, everything that you are working towards is what you want. You are no longer allowing external factors to dictate who you are. And this is a key distinction. External factors can dictate what I have to deal with. They can dictate where my focus goes sometimes. They can dictate my time and energy and finances and relationships and my practical logistical situations. But when my identity has shifted, it can no longer affect who I am. All right, which is key to you being able to sustain the results that you want and to continue to evolve longer term. Okay. That's number one. Number two, this one's big. And I sort of touched on it to finish off point number one here. It's allowing others to dictate how you feel and think. Part of the last thing I teach people when we go through my identity shift process is what I call the NFG method. Okay. It's very Australian, but it's the no fucks given method. And I'm very direct with it because it is literally that simple. It's no longer giving a fuck what anybody else thinks at all. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter if it's your partner. Doesn't matter if it's your mother. Doesn't matter if it's your best friend. Doesn't matter if it's your dad. Doesn't matter if it's your kids. Doesn't matter. The only person that you need to worry about in terms of how you see yourself or opinions are yours. That's it. That person staring back at you in the mirror is the person that you need to face and be in alignment with every single day. And if there's conflict, if there's little lies going on, if there's broken promises, if there's a lack of trust and belief in you doing the things that you say you're going to do, guess what? You're going to have some tough conversations with yourself. You're going to have to face the fact that level of frustration, overwhelm, feelings of guilt and shame are all associated with you not doing what you said you were going to do, you not living with the integrity of what I want and the actions that I'm taking. It's not complicated. We go to work to complicate it and add all of these stories and emotions and everything to it. But at the end of the day, if I have so much certainty and clarity around who I want to be, who the fuck has anything else to do with that? Who cares what anybody else has to say? They're not the ones who are going to work to create this version of you. They're not the ones who are ultimately going to look back at you in the mirror. Like when you look in the mirror, I don't see Sam and Bob and Jeffrey and Susan, and I see me. I see this person staring back at me that I have to face and realize that, hey, shit, I'm getting older. There's a few extra wrinkles here, but you know what? I love that person. I like that person. I love what I'm working towards being. I can look myself in the eye and I can have a level of pride and a level of fulfillment attached to living in alignment. People get distracted by others. They get distracted by external things because ultimately it's easier to be distracted than it is to be disciplined. Think about that. It's easier to be distracted. Hey, look, social media. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, I didn't go to the gym today. Oh, it's cool. But, oh man, look at Susie. She's in great shape. What program she's doing? Then I go down the rabbit hole and I end up signing up to a program that has nothing to do with where I want to be and where I want to go. I allowed myself to be distracted because it's easier than being disciplined. And being disciplined to turn the noise of others out is something that's in relation to the third thing I'm going to gift you today, which is going to guarantee your success, and your entire life will change based on all three of these things, but especially the last one I'm going to give you. When I no longer care what anybody else thinks, I no longer have to worry about the shit that comes out of people's mouths. It's no longer going to take my time and energy. It's no longer going to dictate my emotional state or my reactions. I'm not even going to give it any time, let alone any merit. I'm going to turn it out Homer Simpson style, or I'm just going to walk away. Like, cool, thanks, you do you, I'll do me. Love you. Bless and release, but fuck off, right? I literally do not care what you think. I don't, because you don't have to live with me. I have to live with me. And if it's your partner's opinion around you and this person, and we give them names, and he does this to me and she does this to me and they tell me this and they make me feel this way. No, they fucking don't. You make yourself feel that way. You accept it. You own the label and you listen. I didn't say that it was easy, but it is fucking simple. I think my grandfather had it best. Like, the dude was a fucking genius. He was deaf in 2 ears and he had a hearing aid in 1 ear. And every time my gran, who was super negative, used to start chirping away, you'd watch him. He'd pretend to play with his ear and then he would turn his hearing aid down to the point where he couldn't hear anything. And he would just sit there and nod. Right? Because he didn't give a fuck what she had to say. He turned his hearing aid off. And I love that when I think back on it now, because I wish that some of you had that ease to be able to make that shift, to be able to just turn the fucking hearing aid off and no longer care, because people's mouths are going to flap. Everyone's heard that saying that opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. But at the end of the day, you have to live with your opinion of you. There were moments in my life that the person that was staring back at me in the mirror made me feel sick, made me feel like a liar, made me cry. I cried from it. I felt shame and blame and guilt and disgust at times. And like I said, it's not easy to face that, but it is simple. It just takes having that raw, honest conversation with myself in order to go, cool, this is not good enough. You're not showing up enough. And then get to work on step number 1 and go through that identity transformation. But at this point, the only person that I'm listening to, the only person that's going to dictate my reactions, how I feel, and then my actions is me. Everyone else, NFG, NFG, NFG. Plug it into your brain. And I have clients all the time that send me messages and this happened today and I NFG'd it or I NFG'd that. And I love it. I love it. I got a lot of my female clients going, that little inner bitch popped into my head and I just turned it off. NFG, boom, done. I didn't go down the rabbit hole. I didn't get distracted. I didn't get emotive. I didn't allow all of this fucking head noise to consume me. I just did me. NFG. Yeah, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Third one here, and this is big. It's so big without realizing how big it is in terms of it's just as simple to do it as it is not to do it. And it's why one of my favorite 2 books, actually, because they're both based on exactly the same principle. One is The Compound Effect, and the other one is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And both of them work on the premise that it's just as easy to do something as it's not to do something. Like, I can put consistent reps into not showing up, and I can put consistent reps into showing up. And depending on where I'm putting my repetitions will depend on my outcomes and my results. And I love this because it allows us to, when we end up where we want to end up, or we end up where we don't want to end up, we then gain perspective on what we did and didn't do. But the trick is you won't see that perspective until you end up at a place that you can measure. And for some of you, that's a catalyst. You're overweight, you're unhappy, your relationship has exploded, you are financially bankrupt, you have a health scare. But you didn't realize that all of those stupid little actions that you did and didn't take along the way is what led you to that point. But you didn't see them because they were small. They weren't little Mack trucks hitting you. They were little speed bumps along the way of the road. They didn't smack you hard enough to make you stop it and realize what's going on. And the same is true when I do the things that people don't see consistently. I show up over time and suddenly you see that hockey stick effect. And somebody's gone from being relatively unknown or relatively unsuccessful or relatively not as financially wealthy. And suddenly, bang, they're like up here and you're like, damn, how did that person go from there to there so quickly? But they didn't. They'd been working on this in the background until now they've gained momentum. Now they're seeing the effect of that hard labor of showing in and day out when no one was watching, when no one was helping, when no one was patting them on the back. They showed up. And this is the key to point number 3 here is being willing to rep it out in order to achieve these 2 things, growth and mastery. Okay, so if you are writing these down, write this down. The things that I can measure are my growth and my mastery. So if I'm repping in and day out and I'm staying the course, but my level of growth, whether it'll be emotionally, financially, practically, physically, in a relationship, whatever it might be, romantically, if I'm doing things that are in line with that and I can't see change, I can't see any level of growth or improvement, then I need to look at what's going on because something's happening along the way in the process that's not leading to the outcome that I want, which then allows me to go back to mastery and almost think about it like a staircase, right? That in order for me to achieve and move up that next level of stairs, I need to attain mastery in some level. And I've had this in my own life around business, right? Opened up my first gym. I'm like, this is exciting, but how the fuck am I going to fill it with people? I need to learn marketing. So then I learned to learn marketing. And then after I learned marketing, cool, now I need to hire a bunch of staff. So I need to now learn how to hire staff and how to create SOPs and how to have team meetings and how to do all this stuff. So I had to create a level of mastery in order to achieve the next level of growth. And it's the same physically. You go from doing nothing to now you can do something. Now I can do something. Let me learn how to do the next thing. And then the next thing will allow you to continue to grow. So I'm repping it out, but I'm repping it out with intentions to achieve mastery and growth. And sometimes you won't see the level of growth for a long time. And for me, the time is irrelevant. Even when I set the goal when I was 33 to add as much muscle as I can, I didn't have a context around how much. It ended up being 20 kilos of muscle that I've added in just under 10 years. And I've done that with only allowing my body fat to go up a certain percentage where it's still easy for me to maintain and eat ice cream once or twice a week because I love ice cream and candy. But ultimately, it was just a matter of that's the goal. I didn't attach a specific outcome. I just attached the intention and then I created the actions around it, which allowed me to go through moments of growth and mastery. And then I have an injury or I have something that I need to get better at. So I got to go back and I got to build it. For example, this is a basic example. It's really hard for me to put size on my shoulders. Just naturally, thanks to my parents and genetics, I struggle to put muscle on my shoulders. So I've had to multiple times strip back down to almost no weight, work on different movements, get to the point where I can increase it. And now I'm able to keep more muscle on my shoulders. I'm able to develop them at a higher level than I ever have before. But it wasn't because of any other reason than the fact that I'm showing up every day and I attached it to growth and mastery. What did I need to master in order to grow? And it'll be the same in your relationship, it'll be the same in finances, it'll be the same in business. It'll be the same with your own identity shift. Right now, I'm showing up for myself here and here. But over here, I'm not showing up for me. Cool. What do we need to master there in order for you to show up more, in order to gain that next level of growth? And that's it. So we measure our progress along the way. But the key to doing all of this is to be willing to rep it out longer than anybody else. More importantly, longer than the previous version of you. For me, I rep it out no matter what, all the time, no matter what. Because ultimately, I will end up at a point that I can measure. And if that point is not where I want, great. I need to continue to rep it out, but with a different focus, something else I need to master, until I can go through that next level of growth. And when you can do this consistently, it just becomes the game of life, of adaptation and transformation, which again, progress is attached to happiness. If this is how I'm choosing to live my life, then everything that I'm doing is connected to a level of progress. It's directed to a level of growth and self-mastery. And when I can connect that to self-love and self-belief and self-identity, it's a pretty cool place to be. And it's why I say to you that these three things will change, more importantly, transform your life forever. What I would love to know in the comments is, which one of these three do you struggle with the most? Which one of these three do you feel you do better than any other three? And would you add to the three? Let me know in the comments below, and I'm excited to connect with you all next week. If you are somebody that wants to go through that identity shift process and you're not sure how to do it in order to create the level of transformation and change that you want, comment below, let me know, just say the word identity and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, send me an email at adam@ilovechanginglives.com. Reach out to me on social media, because honestly, being able to do that and master that as your precursor to everything will transform your trajectory in terms of you being able to achieve levels of success and results in any area of your life. But it all starts with the who, you, gaining clarity around that, but more importantly, getting rid of the version of you that's no longer serving you, that's been in your way for fucking way too long. And now we need to create the version of you that is going to serve you and bring to life the things that I know that you want, but more importantly, that you also deserve to start claiming. All right. I will speak to you next week. And again, comment below. Let me know which of the three related to you best.